Moo hoo 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 ha 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 ha. It's spooky time for the scariest of months, Spooktober, which is still a thing for the next 48 minutes, during which time we shall record a show of such macabre horror and terror and whatnot that your hair will turn white and your skin will turn a pallid gray, and you will be left bereft of all your will to live. Either that or it might be okay. I don't know. We'll find out. Like, here's the thing. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, because why would I not be honest with you? You're a perfect stranger. Either that or you are me. So here's what it is that, like, I've tried many times to try and get this thing together, and, like, I think I'm all out of funny juice. You could just, like, go ahead and skip this one. I don't know if it's going to be funny, but it's Spooktoberween. So we're going to have the Weekend Type Fun Volume 24. Blah. I did not do the bad, Photoshop cutting out of this Nosferatu. I found this on the internet. Someone else did this. It was like, no, let's put it up. Let's put it up on the internet where it's like available in Google search results, Google image results. And, this is just your standard Cobra Kai, sweep the leg Johnny sort of a guy. Anyway, he's pretty scary. I mean, who would support that kind of violence against someone who really did you no wrong and meant you no harm? I mean, the guy just moved to Reseda. Like, how angry are you going to be at him? Anyway, regardless, moving on with our lives. But it's Weekend Type Fun Volume 24. Blah. Oh, wait, we're going to have Stanley the Manly come in for this one? I thought I was going to do my whole vampire shtick. My whole thing where I'm like, I am a vampire. Woo! You know, it's pretty good. I've been working on it. I'm like 9/10 Bela Lugosi. You know, I'm like the not entirely poor man's Bela Lugosi. I'm the, like, man who can afford a nice thing or two Bela Lugosi. That's where I am. And we're going to bring in Stanley the Manly, who, like, he's just going to foul this up because he's been cheating on his sobriety. And probably also his wife. Yeah, that's right. I'm not above ruining your marriage. That's how little I think of you, Stanley. Anyway, let's bring in Stanley. We got a room full of white people here. Most of you sitting around having done nothing. Braxton's over here. He wrote this episode. I get the feeling, Braxton, that you didn't do very much because I saw you sneaking cookies in the Halloween party, the office Halloween party. Saw you over with the punch and cookies early in the evening, and it didn't seem like you went back to the writer's room, so I'm going to go ahead and guess that you put the vast majority of the heavy lifting for this episode on me. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Now, obviously, we have the other white people in the room full of white people. Of course there is. Ian's over here. He probably did a terrible job promoting this. It's a seasonal episode, and he's, like, promoted it like it's freaking, I've seen, going out of business sales for mattress stores that get more promotion, honestly. And those friggin' things, like, who even opens a mattress store? Every other week you see another, like, we're going out of business forever. And it's like, who the frick is selling mattresses? They never stay in business. It's a front for the mob, I think, is what we've learned. They are all a front for the mob. That's why they go out of business every week. And then they burn the place for the insurance money. and then they're collecting it on both ends, and that's how they launder it, and then mafia. Anyway, regardless. So yeah, that's the thing. Look, Chaz is over here. He's hovering over my right shoulder like he normally does, micromanaging and pestering. Look, if you're not going to help Chaz, if you're not going to be of any help whatsoever, then I would just as soon you not be here. Like, swear to God. Clarissa's back there into her 14th Chardonnay. Apparently things didn't work out with her and the off-duty policeman who takes Little League sports way too seriously. Yeah, who would have figured that would not work out so well? Certainly not me, because I didn't freaking win the office pool on that. I went under. I went way under. Who won it? Who actually won? Ian won the office pool. You got it right to the day, Ian. Oh, so you can do that right, but you can't promote this show right. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, yeah, Clarissa's back here. We've got Kaysen, we've got Caden, we've got Aiden. His parents are douche canoe. We know this. We know this from experience. Anyway, room full of white people. Just packed to the brim, white people. And quite frankly, y'all could just as easily clear the frick out of here, but you're just keeping this office Halloween party going extra long in hopes that, like, any of you are going to hook up with any of the rest of you. And, like, quite frankly, the idea of that happening is sad. That makes me sad. I'm going to tell my therapist this week that is the primary source of my sad. Anyway, yeah, let's move it on. Hey, with your host, Mr. Doesn't Believe in Ghosts of the Clemson Doesn't Believe in Ghostesses. Yeah, you're right. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't. You know why? Do you want to get into this? Look, Braxton, you're the one who put in this slide. You spent time eating punch and cookies instead of friggin' writing decent slides. So let's talk about why, Mr. Doesn't Believe in Ghosts doesn't believe in ghosts. Okay, first of all, there is no unified ghost theory. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody who believes in ghosts will tell you something different about ghosts, but they will have confirming reasons why they're like, but ghosts are like this, and this is what they do, and this has been my experience, and that's why they're ghosts. And then somebody else will be like, ooh, this is my experience, and that's what I think about, and that's why ghosts are definitely a thing. And you're like, you two freaking guys, you aren't even talking about the same thing, and yet you are absolutely convinced that there are ghosts. There's no unified ghost theory. Everybody who believes in ghosts will just, go into a drafty old building, and when they feel a draft, they'll be like, oh my God, it's cold. Did you feel that? That must be a ghost. And it's like, hold the frick on, you dingus. You went into a drafty old building, you felt a draft, and you are surprised by this? Like, what is your life? Like, cheese Malise. You go into delicatessens and you're surprised that they have lunch meats? Like, is that also a part of your life? Is that a thing that happens? You go into donut stores and you're surprised that, like, oh goodness, they've got jelly filled. Like, yes, it's been a thing for a long time. Anyway, your lack of unified ghost theory and the fact that, like, everything you experience confirms what you already believe. Look up confirmation bias and then get back to me. So yeah, I don't believe in ghostesses, and you can stop holding it over my head like I'm the weird one. Look, I'm going to throw this back at you. We're going to go freaking Carl Sagan on your butt, because this is funny and good stuff for a Halloween episode. Braxton, okay? Carl Sagan. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. You won't come to me and tell me that there's like magical fruity frou unicorns or like leprechauns a leaping in the clover. Like, then you're the one who better come correct with some freaking proof, like high quality video evidence that we can have it looked at and be like, no, this video has not been tampered with in any way. no After Effects on this bad boy. Like, this is for real. Like, honest to God, everyone carries a phone in their pocket that captures high quality video, and they're getting better and better at doing it in the dark. Like, why the frick won't you get me some evidence, you dingus? Anyway, so yeah, it is a whole thing. Was that funny, Braxton? Did I do the heavy lifting for you? Oh my God, this episode is terrible already. Hey, Mr. Skeptic, play the theme song, the one which has always been the theme, as sung by the Out of Tuners. Oh, I'll play you a friggin' theme song. You get ready. You prepare yourself. I am not responsible for the consequences of having played this theme song. The Out of Tuners, those guys, oh, they are not worth it, by the way. Like, are we going to let them go when their contract is never up? We're just going to stick. Okay. I mean, I thought we wanted to do a good show, but like, oh boy. Mr. Chaz over here has different ideas. He likes the Out of Tuners. Oh, it's your nephew? Yeah, I should have figured. Anyway, listen to this and imagine, a good version of it. This has always been the theme song. This right here, what I am singing, this has always been and will always be the theme. Yes, we are in complete agreement. The things that we have both been singing about are indeed the theme. And now it should be apparent to all personages within the sound of our voices that we have been singing the one and true theme song, the only theme song that exists and will ever be in the world. Amen. And whatnot. Cha. Ah, yes, the cha. It's the one thing they do right every single time. And I'll tell you this, like, we're doing a Spooktober-themed one. We couldn't get a Spooktober-themed thing, theme song. Couldn't get, like, a Halloween-y remix, like some old creepy organ in it, some Vincent Price vibes. I mean, like, I thought we were trying to put on a good show. I guess I'm the only one. Yeah. I'm drinking on the job. This is a bottle of rye whiskey, which I purchased at the time of my brother's death. So do you want to bring that up? Should we talk about sad things, or are we going to do a comedy show? Let me get a little sip of this in my belly, and maybe I'll bring the funny that Braxton probably did not provide in the slides. Thank you very much. That's good rye. Okay. All right. This week's episode. Well, hey, Mr. Doesn't Believe in Ghosts. What about that? What about this guy who is like clearly an adult man with his, blue pants sticking out the bottom of his obvious bedsheet ghost costume? Are you asking me about this specifically, or is there going to be other stuff? Oh, what about this? Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Okay. So, back in the day, orbs. Orbs were everything. Ooh, orbs. They're ghostesses. Look at the Orbeez. You know what this picture looks like? It looks like the sprinkler went off when this dude was trying to take a picture. That's what it looks like. But also, like, here's the funny thing about orb-type ghosts. Orb-type ghosts used to appear all the time when you had to use an actual chemical process to develop a photo. You had to, like, bathe it in 3 different chemicals, and then you had to drip dry it, and there were all number of ways in which that could go wrong. And so, like, yeah. Obviously, there are, if you're dealing with chemicals, of a liquid type, you can see how you might get like drippy type drips on it. So, like, who the frick looks at this and is like, that is a spirit of the dead? You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are a bunch of silly gooses. You believe in that. You know what I'm saying? This is ridiculous. You get the frick out. Especially because, like, j, ha, f, g, b, l, m. I mean, come on. Digital photography killed the orb ghost. How you feel about that? Like, that is a fact. You really don't see orb ghostesses since the advent of digital photography. So, like, there you go. What about that? What about my awesome explanation? Oh, what about this? What about this double exposed picture? This is an obvious double exposure. I mean, it's clearly, I mean, it looks kind of spooky. She's clearly moving her head back and forth. But you can see that her hands are in the same place. So yeah, double exposure. This is obviously done. You know, it's pretty easy to do. It's a pretty easy effect. Coincidentally, there's a famous picture that everybody's like, oh my God, it's a family sitting at a table, and then there's like a guy hanging himself in the background. And it's like, no, it's been proven to be a double exposure. You know, there are experts who look at photographs and they analyze them and they can spot a double exposure like that. Oh, I'm glad that Snap worked. You ever go to Snap and then it doesn't work? And then you're like, oh, I was trying to make a point and it was like, no, I can't not snap well right now. My fingers are on it. Anyway, but this is a double exposure. So, you know, you get a shot of hallway without her, and then you take another photo of hallway with her, and she's moving her head, and this is what you get. It's very simple. Yeah. Coincidentally, the fairy photographs from the 1800s, late 1800s, it's the early part of the 20th century. Regardless, somebody was photographing fairies, and it turned out it was just the person's kids wearing little outfits, and they were taking like landscape photo, and then they would take double exposed photo of kids with like little fairy wings on, and everybody was like, oh my God, fairies are real. But it's like, no, they're not. Double exposures are real, stupid. Anyway, double exposure. Oh, what about this? An EMF meter. Yeah, the electromagnetic frequency meter. First of all, what makes you think that ghosts give off an electromagnetic frequency? This is the type of thing that drives me crazy. Because, like, there is no reason to suppose that ghostesses give off an electromagnetic frequency. None whatsoever. You are presupposing that fact when you come at me with an EMF meter. Like, you're just being a doof is what you're being. So, first of all, like, why are ghosts cold? Huh? Oh, because death is cold? But what about the fact that, like, once the spirit leaves the body gets cold. So what about the fact that maybe the ghost should be super warm because it's the warmness leaving the body? How about that for an explanation? Huh? So find me those warm ghosts. It's just like what I just said is just as valid an explanation as anything that you've said. Now, as for EMF, electromagnetic, when you're finding electromagnetic frequencies, like it's pretty simple. Copper piping, copper wiring can affect these, honestly, and quite frankly, as you go, it's an electromagnetic field meter, so it's going to find like especially field boundaries. So you know how your house is on, like, you've got different breakers. Well, everything that's on one breaker is going to be in one field together. And then the things that are on the next breaker are on a different field. And as it turns out, dingus, if you go to the places where people are like, oh my God, the EMF meter is going crazy, and you look at that's where this circuit breaker ends and this one begins. That's what you're measuring, you moron. Like, is there a reason to have an EMF meter? Yeah, you can measure electromagnetic fields. Does not mean that there are ghosts. Like, it's almost as if these morons just found any old thing that can sense any old thing, and they're like, that thing that it's sensing is ghosts. You know what I'm saying? It's cart before the horse thinking. It's so dumb. Anyway, another double exposure. That's what a double exposure looks like in color. You take a picture of park bench without girl, then you take a picture with girl. Easy. Done. Like, you don't even need to do a double exposure?
Introduce me so I can.
Okay, here, you're going to have to slide over. We have renowned photographic expert. What's your what's your name? Come up with a fake name.
Susan Brinkerhoff.
Susan Brinkerhoff. Are you Rhiannon's mom?
I'm like, is that a fake name?
Sure. Anyway, hey, tell us how to make this without even double exposing.
You can do this in just one shot by extending the length that the shutter is open and having the person freeze in place for a period of time and then move. Same effect.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Because if you have it open for a really, really long time, it won't really catch the motion if they move out of the shot quickly. Yeah, you're right. That's absolutely exactly correct.
Notice that ghost photos are often taken at dusk where it's dark.
Yeah.
So somebody wandered into the frame.
Yes. You're so right about everything. Susan Brinkerhoff, renowned expert on photography and the paranormal, and how the paranormal ain't so paranormal. It's just freaking normal because there are normal explanations for all of it. You dingus.
I don't know if they heard my explanation of the dusk thing.
Oh, they might not have. It's just that at dusk, like if someone wanders into the shot and you didn't notice, then it'll easily, if you got a long exposure, which is the sort of thing that you might be setting up at dusk because of the light level, right? Exactly. It's just basic photography knowledge that completely takes this stuff out. What about this? Oh my God, that's Papa Emeritus. If I'm not mistaken, that's Papa Emeritus 2 from the band Ghost, and they are awesome, and I love them. And he's not a real ghost, and the band is named Ghost, but he is the skeletal devil pope, and I worship him with all my heart and soul. This is Patrick Swayze from the film Ghost. This is Patrick Swayze from the film To Wong Fu. Why the next picture better not be Patrick Swayze? Are we going to see Roadhouse next? Is that what's happening? But okay, I'm just telling you, if you have not seen To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Love Julie Newmar? Is it Love Julie Newmar? Or is it just Julie Newmar? To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. Anyway, hold up. I'm literally going to pause this and find out. I was right the first time. To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar. By the way, Julie Newmar, hell of a Catwoman. Absolutely. Yeah. Eartha Kitt, obviously, yes, please, and thank you. Lot of good Catwomen in the Adam West, Burt Ward Batman series and movies, etc. And why the frick wouldn't Cesar Romero shave his mustache? These and other questions that have been answered over the years as we continue to what will probably be another picture of Patrick Swayze. But I'm telling you this, if you've not seen To Wong Fu, get off your dinky Duffkins and go see To Wong Fu. You find it streaming probably just about anywhere. You can find it in the bargain bin at your local Walmart, probably. I mean, it's not that expensive of a movie. You can own it and stuff, or you can stream it or whatever, but it's like excellent. Young John Leguizamo, when the man could do no wrong, he could still do no wrong in my book. And Wesley Snipes, are you kidding me? Like, for real? Yes, and he is great. As is Patrick Swayze. Surprising performances out of everyone, except, you're not that surprised by John Leguizamo because you're used to John Leguizamo knocking that kind of stuff out of the park. Anyway, excellent, amazing, love it, thank you. Yeah. I believe that is a boo from Super Mario Bros. Yeah, that's okay. That's Slimer from Ghostbusters. Now, you're just being silly at this point. Like, honest to God. First of all, you were trying to get me with, like, what about these type of ghosts? Now you're just like, that's High Five Ghost from regular show. Oh, I'm High Five Ghost. He has a voice like that, and he always hangs around with Muscle Man, who's like, you know who else likes High Five Ghost? My mom. Anyway. It's like that. We've all seen that show. We love it. Anyway, what the freak? That is like a 1972 Super Bee. That's back when the Super Bee was a Coronet, not a Charger, and comes with the split grill. It's some plum crazy. Obviously, I mean, durr. It's not even a ghost thing. Oh, well, sorry I didn't measure up to your high standards, Mr. Man. Maybe you should tell us some ghost story. Ghost stories, plural. Braxton, you have a degree in English. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You've done a terrible job this evening. We ought to dock your pay for this. Like, Chaz, could we dock his pay? He's already been paid? Oh my God. The things that go on at this show that I would not sign off on if I had any more control, Chaz. Talking to my agent. When it's contract negotiations again, I'm going to make sure this kind of nonsense does not happen. You do crap work, you don't get paid. I mean, that's basically how it is. Like, if I do crap work, my contract doesn't get picked up again. You know what I'm saying? Like, why the frick should it be any different for this guy over here? Anyway, it's sorry, audience, to bog you down in showbiz talk, but it's necessary. This is important. We're trying to run a show here. Anyway, yeah. Well, I'm not that spooky, but we'll see if there's anything to work with spooky ghost story times. Oh, I see what you did. I see what you did with my photo on a horse's ass. Yeah, real nice. Nice, Braxton. You don't have time to write decent slides, but you got time for this? Think I need that in my life? I don't. I was up for a Peabody at one point. No, I didn't win it, but I was up for it, and it's an honor to be nominated. So you shut the frick up. No, I'm not going to say the actual word. We're on air. Air my dirty laundry. This freaking guy. Anyway, so yeah, you're going to give me stock photos and I'm going to tell spooky ghost stories based on those. Yeah, that ought to go well. Yeah, this is going to be Halloween Spooktacular 2021. People will love it. They'll come from miles around to see me do your job, Braxton, is what they're going to come to see. Anyway, here we go. Let's find out. Okay, yeah. This is this is a very spooky story. This is the story of slut in a bucket. So yeah. Late one night at a frat party, a guy was very drunk and he thought, hey, is that a hot girl in some sort of bucket? And he's like, hey, pretty lady, I would like to take. Is that how frat boys talk? I've never been in a frat. Are they like, hello, pretty lit? Oh, it's more of a surfer dude thing. It's more of a like, hey, pretty mama, hey, little. I want to take. I don't know why I'm taking criticism from you. I am doing my best under difficult circumstances. Anyway, on with the story. So, he's like, hello, pretty lady. I would like to take you to my. Okay, fine. Fine. I'll just do it in a regular accent. Okay? Is everybody happy? Are you happy, Chaz? You happy with the quality of this show? You think our many sponsors are going to stay with us? They're going to be happy? You know, people in Duluth are going to see this, and then they're going to see an ad for Coca-Cola, and they're going to be like, yeah, now I'm going to buy Coca-Cola because of I saw this show prior to a Coke ad. That's how that's going to work? Okay. All right. Well, you're the expert. I mean, I'm just the talent. What do I know? Okay, let's rewind. Oh, no, I don't want to be a horse's ass again. Okay, here we go. So, it was late one night at a frat party. A frat party that no one would ever forget. A guy named Chaz. That's right, Chaz. Weren't you part of a frat? Were half the guys in your frat also named Chaz? Oh, they were? You had to number yourselves? Chaz 1 through 12? Oh, man. Your life is sad. Then and now, Chaz. I weep for you. Anyway, Chaz number 9 had 14 too many beers, and he was stumbling across the lawn when he thought he saw a beautiful girl in a bucket. And he was like, hey, what are you doing in a bucket? You look like you've been bucketed. Did you fall in that bucket? And the girl was like, why don't you come over here and, like, find out or something? And Chaz was like, that sounds like totally what I would do, yeah, okay. Like, I see your tongue is hanging out. Do you want me to touch your tongue with, like, my tongue or, like, anything else, maybe? And the girl was like, that sounds like maybe okay. Why don't you just get over here? Now, on that front lawn, there was no one else around. Everyone was in the back, and they were watching Geach and Scooter, who were up on the roof, who were taking turns in a belly flop contest from the roof into the spacious pool beneath. People were laughing, drinking, living it up. But on the front lawn, there was only Chaz number 9 and the slut in a bucket. Chaz approached the slut curiously but cautiously. He bent down, tongue extended, hoping to touch tongues with this young vixen, or so he thought. Just before his tongue touched hers, she magically transformed and revealed herself to be a horrifying demon. She opened her mouth wide as the gates of hell, and swallowed Chaz number 9 whole. And after that night, the fraternity had to redo its Chaz numbering system. It really killed the vibe for the rest of the semester. And that's the story of the slut in a bucket. So if you're at a frat party and you're all alone on the front lawn and some young hussy wants to touch tongues and she's stuck in a bucket, don't. She's probably some sort of demon. Okay, what do you think about that? Is that good? Are we giving me a round of applause? Is this happening? Are we clapping for me? Is this... Hey, white people, did you see what I just did? I was given a sow's ear, a metaphorical sow's ear, and I turned it into a silk purse. Like, this is the picture you give me, Braxton, to tell a scary story with. Okay, I'm sure the rest are going to be great. Chaz, you see how I'm doing all the work here. Yeah, I'm just saying, when contract negotiations come up, I will mention this. Okay, yeah, I think, okay, this has way less of a ghost story vibe, more of an action thriller vibe. But let's get into it. So, Larry the Goldfish, he was a legend in the game, and he was actually playing both sides against the middle, but I get ahead of myself. See, Larry the Goldfish, he grew up on the west side. No, it doesn't matter which city. West side of all of them, probably, for what I know. Anyway, he grew up on the west side. And, things were tough on the west side. They always are. I mean, you tell me a west side where things are going great. The west side of London's pretty nice. Well, he wasn't from London then, okay? Show me up. I'm trying to tell a story. Anyway, so Larry the Fish is, living his life, just trying to stay alive. West side, he gets in with some no-good-nicks, and before too long, he's finding himself on the wrong side of the law. Then one day, Big Johnny's a catfish, and he sees Larry the Goldfish over there, and he's like, hey, I see you. I see what you're doing. You're pulling these petty crimes, but you look like you got a head for some serious business. And Larry's like, maybe I do. What's it to you? And, being a catfish that he was impressed at the pluck of this little goldfish. And he's like, you're all right, kid. We're going to make you something. We're going to make you something big. And that's how Larry the Goldfish got his start in the mob. And, then, he started getting his little fins into everything. He was playing the numbers. He was running a protection racket. He had a crazy large prostitution ring going. He was, all the things. And, he even started selling cocaine. He wasn't above it. He didn't use this stuff, like so many nincompoops. That guy from Goodfellas? Nah, Larry weren't like that. He was smart. He was brought up on the streets. All of the streets in all of the west sides, except for London, because apparently it's hoity-toity and it's like the Broadway of England over there. Anyway, regardless, don't worry about that part, okay? So, Larry the Goldfish, he starts getting too big for his finses, you know what I'm saying? And the head honcho, the boss man, the capo d'antuti capa, bigger gabagoo guy. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, confuse you with my flawless Italian language usages. But, we Italianos, we speak a different language when we among each other, capisce? That means that you freaking understand me in Italiano. Anyway, that's how we say you freaking understand me in Italian, capisce? Capisce? No, that's how we say that. Anyway, regardless. So, people start thinking that Larry is getting too big for his fins. I mean, this guy is making, He's making all kinds of money. He's making it, like he's already got gold scales, but then he buys a set of gold scales to weigh all his money on because he's got so much freaking money, he's got to weigh it on a gold scale. That's the kind of money that Larry's pushing around, and people start to get jealous. They start to talk, and quite frankly, somebody told the boss man that Larry was holding out. Now, Larry wasn't never holding out. He kept his fins clean. I mean, aside from all the crimes he was committing, but, there's honor amongst thieves, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so, Larry, he's just minding his own business. Then all of a sudden, people think they got the drop on him. They turn him into the feds. Somebody goes state's witness. They're living the high life in Scottsdale, Arizona. Don't tell me that you haven't heard about this. It's basically the plot of Goodfellas. Except for, the good guy in Goodfellas, who's actually the bad guy, because the mob guys who are bad guys committing crimes are actually the good guys. Anyway, regardless, one of these rats, one of these stoolies, one of these stool pigeons, tells the FBI that Larry is perpetrating all sorts of crimes and whatnot. Anyway, so there's this female FBI agent. Agent Scully's, I think, was her name. Anyway, Agent Scully's is like, hey, they took me off of the assignment detail to find out aliens, because it turns out the only aliens we've got are coming here from Mexico, and that's more of a border patrol sort of a thing, and we don't need to worry about that so much, and so now we got to worry about the mafia. And so she gets put on the case, and everybody's like, oh, I love your new short haircut and your pearly white teeth, and you look so good in your little FBI uniform. And so, like, she's getting all sorts of big promotions, and she thinks that she can take out Larry the Goldfish. Well, it's going to take a lot more than a short haircut and a fancy lady suit to take out Larry the Goldfish. Anyway, so, she starts coming after Larry. She starts showing up at his place of business, harassing him, telling him she's got all kinds of info on him, telling him that she's got, people on the inside of the organization who are telling her all kinds of things. She thinks she's really got this. Now, this picture right here comes from when she finally, now the boss man of the FBI, I'm not talking about no catfish up in the mafia. I'm talking about the boss man in the FBI. The one with a mustache. Anyway, he tells Agent Scully's over here, hey, cool it. I think you're getting a little bit much involved and obsessed with Larry the Goldfish. And quite frankly, I've looked at the case file. I don't think there's much there. And there wasn't. And everybody knew it except for Agent Scully's over here. She was, holding a hand of deuces and acting like she had 4 aces, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so she comes packing heat. She gets Larry the Goldfish by the dorsal fin, and she is pushing her FBI-issued pistol right in his little face. And she's like, show me where the real books are. Show me where the real evidence is. And Larry's like, real evidence of what? So I own a couple laundries. I do all right. A lot of people have dirty clothes on this side of town. If you haven't noticed, it's the west side. The west side is the dirty side because it's on the wrong side of the tracks. So why don't you get out of my business and go do something useful, like go check a couple parking meters or something like that. Now, that crack about the parking meters, it made her mad. And when she gets mad, she gets all smiley. It's weird, you know what I'm saying? So she gets all smiley and points a gun right in Larry's little face. And she's like, I swear to God, I'm going to pull this trigger right in your little fishy face. Well, guess what? What she didn't account on was that Larry had put in a high-tech security system, and he was broadcasting his high-tech security feed directly to Agent Scully's boss in the FBI. Now, here's the fun thing. Agent Scully's was surprised when a whole bunch of her comrades at arms, a whole bunch of her friends from the FBI show up to arrest her instead of Larry the Goldfish. They clapped the irons on her, haul her away. What she didn't figure on was that a smart fish like Larry, he's not just paying off some like lowly cop on the corner. No, that'll get you nothing. Pay off a cop on the corner, that should get you a free cup of coffee and a donut every now and again. Nah, you gotta pay off the boss man of the FBI. And that's exactly what Larry did. What do you think them gold scales was for? He was figuring out the cut for the boss man at the FBI. And he got away with everything. And then, one day, he moved down to some country, I don't know which one, and I'm not saying, some country down South America way where they don't have no extradition treaties with the United States. He's living like a king. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, that's the story of Larry the Goldfish. Now, look, I know it's not so much of a ghost story, but that's not the picture you gave me, so you really can't blame me for that one, can you, Braxton? My God, you're giving me nothing, and I'm just spinning these yarns into goldfish. Oh, my God, Chaz, you do not pay me enough. Yeah, this one speaks for itself. Family reunion. Granny wants a kiss. You don't want to give it to her. She's scary. And that's the end of that. Because, the problem is she's got all kinds of, brain diseases where her brain thinks that you're like her, Latin lover from before she met your granddad and all the shameful things she did with him. You know what I'm saying? She was really into, showing her Episcopalian dad that he was wrong about the world, and so she was going to take up a hot-blooded Latin lover and just, flaunt it to the world. It was in all the society pages. She really embarrassed the entire family, and that's why your side of the family doesn't have any money. And now she wants a kiss because she thinks you're rico, and she rolls her R's like that. Is creepy. It's creepy, Grandma. I mean, come on. It's not a ghost story. Braxton, you're not giving me ghost stories. Oh, my God, this guy. Okay. This one is very easily explicable. We all know what's happening here. It was a dark, Halloweeny night. A girl whose name was Darla. Darla was a smart girl. She got good grades. She did well in her classes. Darla decided she wanted to go to a Halloween party. A Halloween party that she would never forget. Anyway, she went to the Halloween party. She didn't usually go to parties, but this one seemed like a good idea. She was getting a lot of peer pressure, and eventually we all know what happens. Everybody caves to peer pressure. That's just how it goes. That's why it's called peer pressure. It just goes and goes until finally you cave in and you do the thing they're all asking you to do. How do you think I ended up on this show in the first place? Peer pressure. That's right, Chaz. I'm only doing the show because of peer pressure. If my peers didn't pressure me to do it, I wouldn't do it. Anyway, so Darla goes to the party. Straight A student. has never had a drop of the alcohol in her life. Well, she gets to the party and she sees what the other kids are doing. Underage drinking, makeout sessions, wrestling in the pool, fully clothed and stuff. It's weird. She's never seen such things. They're playing beer pong. They're doing keg stands. It's exactly the kind of thing that she's seen in movies. And she tells herself, you know what? Let's think of this as a sociological experiment. Let's try, for just one night, to be a regular teenager. Well, being a regular teenager means that she's going to do some underage drinking. We do not condone underage drinking here at this show. As a matter of fact, I'm going to step out of this voice real quick. I really don't condone underage drinking. I didn't have my first drink until I was 34 years old. That is factually accurate. Now, granted, I do have a tumbler of rye whiskey with me right here. It's not much. Like, I didn't even put, like, I would say, like, if anything, it's like one finger. It's not even 2 fingers of rye whiskey in a tumbler, taking it straight, taking it neat, as they say. But, you order a drink neat, and half the time they'll put ice in it because they don't know, because people don't order things neat. Anyway, so, yeah. I've got my rye whiskey here. I've developed a taste for the finer things in life, including this delicious rye whiskey. Which I purchased in memory of my my dearly departed older brother Robert, who died less than 6 months ago. This is a true story. Anyway. But I didn't drink until later in life, and quite frankly, I'm glad, because I missed all the part where I was stupid and did things that I would regret, and I just have the part where I can enjoy a nice adult beverage, sip it every now and again over the period of, an hour or so, and it's fine. Anyway, so underage drinking, no, you don't need it. People are going to pressure you into it, but you don't need it. That's just one man's opinion, one man who grew up to be weird, but, whatever. Shut up. You're wrong. Anyway, let's get back into the voice, back into the story. So Darla decided that she would, in fact, go in for some underage drinking. At first, she tried a beer. She didn't like the taste of it because it was a mass-produced American beer. We're talking Bud Light or Coors or something like that. It tasted like seltzer water that had gone off somehow. Which is exactly what that crap tastes like. I'm not lying. That's not even beer. It's not even beer, people. Bud Light, Coors Light, Michelob. Not even beer. Anyway, she tried the beer. It didn't agree with her. She tried some wine. It reminded her a little much of church. And then she tried the tequila. Someone had found the liquor cabinet. And the parents in this household had some fantastic taste in tequila. They had a delicious bottle of Milagro, which is a tequila which you can acquire for not very much, surprisingly. But it's very smooth. It is smoother than Patron, and just as flavorful, and it's 100% agave. Now, this was not the Blanco. If you are having tequila Blanco, then what you're having is nonsense. It hasn't been aged. It hasn't been barreled. You're basically drinking White Lightning. Like, what are you, a bucktooth hillbilly from Prohibition times? You don't need that. Let it sit in a barrel for a little bit. Let the price of the bottle go up a little bit. You'll be fine. Trust me, you'll thank me for it. Anyway, Darla tried this Milagro tequila and found that it was buttery smooth and one of the most delicious beverages she'd ever put her lips to. Well, it wasn't very long before she drained about 2/3 of the bottle, which is quite a bit of tequila for a lightweight like Darla. Well, it was around this time that she completely blacked out. She didn't know what she was doing anymore. People put on one of those songs where everybody does the same dance all at the same time, like the cha-cha mambo or the macarena or the chicken dance or one of those stupid things where everybody does the same dance at the same time with no originality. Yeah, that's right. I hate those kind of dances. Does that surprise you? Well, it shouldn't. So yeah, she started doing stupid dances and whatnot. And she started saying weird things, and she started undoing buttons on her shirt. You know, letting guys get a little peek. Well, she decided that maybe tonight was the night that she'd do a little non-committal makeout. She just grabbed some random guy. Well, she saw this guy with a Jabberwocky mask and some sort of a kitchen knife. She thought it was a fake kitchen knife, but as it turned out later, it was real. Anyway, this guy in the mismatched Halloween costume that he put together at Goodwill for like no money whatsoever, it cost him less than $2 for the whole getup. No need to wonder why he actually went out and got an actual kitchen knife at Goodwill. Luckily, it was pretty dull, but he did get an actual kitchen knife, and yeah, they had fake ones at Goodwill. They have that kind of stuff, but he didn't pick one up. Anyway, so it was a night that was just about to go very, very wrong. Darla started touching tongues with this boy that she didn't know or recognize because she was too drunk. Anyway, she kept touching his tongue, and she was grabbing at his buttocks with both hands. One of the girls from Yearbook snapped several pictures of the embarrassing debacle before Darla and this boy went upstairs. Well, to make a long story short, Darla woke up in a puddle of bodily fluids too disgusting to describe. And this guy woke up next to her, and he was like, "Hey, oh my God, who are you? Did we do the nasty last night? Oh my God, you were so wasted. I can't believe it." And Darla was more ashamed than she had ever been in her entire life. "If you drink as a teenager, that will 100% happen to you. You will kiss some random stupid boy. Yes, even if you yourself are a boy. Underage drinking turns you gay." Temporarily gay. You can pray it away. That's the dumbest thing I've ever said. Anyway, regardless, that's the end of the story. I'm thrown in the towel on this one. I couldn't make anything good. I should have, there's actual horror pieces here. Why, I don't know why I went that way with it. You know what, Braxton? This one's on me. I'm sorry. Okay. This one's a very short story. We're going to get through it very quickly. Just give me a second to come up with a fake name. Okay, so I'm just going to tell this in a regular voice. Johnny Nguyen. That's, I'm not going to lie to you. I have a hard time pronouncing that name, and it's the one that I thought of. Decided to make him Vietnamese, and it's kind of ridiculous because like I've lived right next door to Vietnam. I can even say I don't speak Vietnamese in Vietnamese, which makes Vietnamese people think that you actually can speak Vietnamese, so you shouldn't say it because it's unconvincing. Yeah. So, tôi không biết tiếng Việt Nam. You hear that? That's I don't speak Vietnamese in Vietnamese. That's how you get a Vietnamese person to speak an awful lot of Vietnamese at you because they're like, "Oh, you speak my language." No, I don't. That's what it just said. Anyway, regardless, but you would think that I would know how to pronounce more Vietnamese things given the fact that I lived right next door to Vietnam, except for Cambodians hate the Vietnamese, and so like, yeah, they really do not let the culture, like the cultures, intermix at all. They keep them very separate, you know, like those compartmentalized trays where it's like peas over here and corn over there, and don't let the two of them touch. Anyway, so Johnny Nguyen was minding his own business. He was playing Candy Crush on his phone when suddenly he got a text message that would change his entire life. For yes, Johnny Nguyen's grandmama, who had lost her husband 2 years ago, had decided to get back out on the dating scene. And she got on some form of Tinder for very old Asian type peoples. Don't act like that doesn't totally exist. Anyway, and she starts hitting up this guy that's like, "Hey, I'm going to make all your dreams come true. You lost your husband. I'm going to make it so that you never feel alone ever again." And she's like, "Ooh, that sounds nice. Why don't you make me not feel alone tonight?" And the guy's like, "Oh, yeah, I'd love to make you not feel alone tonight." And then, she is like, "Oh, yeah, that's what's going to happen." And he's like, "Why don't you send me some, dirty type pictures, put me in the mood?" And she's like, "Oh, I could send you some dirty type pictures." It was around this time that Johnny would text his grandmother asking her for the recipe to their family style pho, which is the delicious Vietnamese soup. It's made with a clear bean noodle and various cuts of meat, different seasonings. Different people do it differently. It all is the same general idea, but she has the old family recipe handed down through generations, and somehow Johnny had lost it. This was, somehow I think it was a new phone, and so he didn't have that recipe on this phone or something like that. Anyway, he texted his grandma, not realizing that it was a text he would regret for the rest of his life. For yes, Grandmama would respond to that text with the nudie type pictures she intended to send her gentleman caller. And Johnny Nguyen, instead of getting a recipe for delicious pho, was given nudies of his own grandmother, which caused this face, a face which has stayed on Johnny's face to this very day. Of course, I'm telling you a story that happened like 5 minutes ago, but like Johnny still is pulling this face. I mean, we can't get him to stop. He is horrified. Boy might need some serious therapy. Anyway, moving on. Was that it? Oh, holy frick. This ain't a ghost story. This is just like, gentlemen, we are agreed. These kind of nails have got to stop. Ladies, listen to us. We don't like these kind of nails, and quite frankly, They cause a lot of questions about what happens in the bathroom. Seriously. You gotta wipe your booty. Are you not wiping your booty? You better be wiping your booty. But with these long frick nails? Holy crap. Pun intended. Like, come on. You paying like some Vietnamese lady, Johnny's grandmother, who, you know what, Johnny? I know that she's your grandmother, but she does not look half bad for an 87-year-old woman. Anyway, of course I saw the pictures. Get the frig out. I'm friends with Johnny. Anyway, regardless, these nails equal sign bathroom time questions. You can all cut it the frig out. I don't know what it is with girls lately, but they be putting on these fakey fake eyelashes that are like 1.5 miles long, and these fakey fake long fingernails. And here's the thing, like, I get the concept of girls being like, I'm not doing it for boys, I'm doing it for me. But like, you've gone rococo on these things. Like, you've gone like, honest to God, are we bringing, disco style clear heels with fish living in them back? Is that what's happening? Are we going to do that too? Like, while we're being ridiculous with our fashion, are we going to bring back other stupid things from previous decades? Because, my God, like, let's just have hoop earrings that go all the way to the floor, friggin' nails that, curl back in on themselves like those crazy guys from the Guinness Book of World Records. And, yeah, let's do that. And then let's have eyelashes that, have to be supported on some sort of, like, pulley system behind your head, so that you can bat your eyes without, like, friggin' losing an eyelid. Anyway, it's ridiculous and it needs to stop, because there's a fine line between I'm doing this for me, which I totally understand and I 100% support you in, but I feel like you're getting ridiculous and somebody has to say something. Somebody has to say something, and I feel like the time is now, and the person is me. Thank you very much. Moving on. Oh, God. Oh. Oh, no. I don't want to. What? What are you doing to me? Okay, fine. I'll do this one. It's better than the previous one. Like, that's nightmare fuel. What the frick? Okay. Like, that one has a gun. They give that one a gun. You can't. No. Okay. All right. So, tonight we're going to hear the story of Mr. Bobo. Mr. Bobo used to belong to the circus, and he was a performer monkey. His daddy was a performer monkey. His mommy was a performer monkey. His entire family was captured from the jungle and made and forced to be performer monkeys. And Mr. Bobo thought it was all right. He didn't know any better. He didn't know any better. He just was a performer monkey from a long line of performer monkeys. Anyway, Mr. Bobo did all of his tricks. He did backflipses. He would even get up on the flying trapeze and do all sorts of flips and flip-flops. They didn't even need a net because he was a monkey. He'd do that kind of crap for free in the jungle back when his people were free. Well, he never grew up in the jungle, but, instinct and whatnot. Come on. Don't get bogged down in the details of the story I'm trying to tell. I'm just trying to tell a story. Anyway, Mr. Bobo was a monkey, but an extraordinarily gymnastic and athletic monkey. Did all the flippy floppies, the floppy flippies, and all parts in between. Yeah, that's right. Well, one day he was up on the flying trapeze, and he did his flippy type floppies, and he went to go have the man who would catch him, the man who would dangle by his knees and wait for Bobo to do his complex series of flippies and floppies, floppies and flippies, which he would do, and the crowd would scream and shout and holler and yell and clap and hoot and holler. And they loved every minute of it. Well, he was right in the middle of his aerial performance when he reached out his little monkey hands for the man to catch him, and the man missed slightly. And the man panicked, and he grabbed for the first thing on Bobo that he could grab, Bobo's left ear. Well, ears are not as strong as you'd think. The man accidentally tore Bobo's ear right off. Luckily, Bobo did not die that night because he plunged 150 feet kerplop right into a pile of elephant dung. Well, Mr. Bobo in that moment lost his god-dang monkey mind, and he started biting people indiscriminately. Men, women, children, everybody was running and fleeing. There was a general panic. The tent collapsed, and half a dozen circus performers died of suffocation trying to find their way out of that tent. Well, Mr. Bobo chased the scurrying patrons, the viewers of the circus, the audience members. He chased them around and around and around the circus grounds. He bit as many of them as he could. And that's how Ebola was started. A disease which haunts us to this day. Well, it wouldn't haunt us if someone had had the good sense to not pull off Mr. Bobo's left ear. Anyway, Mr. Bobo escaped. They wanted to put him down. They couldn't find him. He was too fast and too smart. He went back to his own kind, and he told them all of the ridiculous time that he had had. He warned them of the ways of mankind, told them that mankind, yes, they'll cheer for you. Yes, they'll give you bananas if you do your flips and your aerial maneuvers just right. But it ain't worth it. It ain't worth your freedom. And he warned them all against humans. And he told them how you can just bite them and give them your Ebola. Yeah. And that's why we have that problem to this very day. Don't pull off a monkey's ear, for frick's sake. Okay. This is just a man. Oh, but it's a man with no face. A faceless man. This is the man that people are talking about when they refer to the man. This is the man who makes you feel like you are never enough. Like you never measure up. Like you'll never be the kind of person who's really, truly happy deep down inside. Who's never completely satisfied with who you are or what you own. And he will sell you item upon item upon item. Oh, your life is incomplete? How about an air fryer? It's all the crispiness without the oil. Oh, that didn't fill the gaping void in your soul? Well, maybe try something else. Maybe try one of those weird massagers people are going in for that you're vaguely concerned might be some sort of a sex thing, but then you get it and you're like, holy crap, this hammer's way too hard to be a sex thing. Either that or other people are way more advanced at sex things than I am. Anyway, yeah, it's okay on your tired, sore muscles, but it doesn't fill the gaping void in your soul. He tells you to buy novelty shower curtains. He tells you to buy hoodies with cool things on them in hopes that other people will see them and say, my, what an interesting specimen of a human being you are. How unique. How truly, truly wonderful you are because of the things that you own. He tells you that things will make the man. Well, things never make the man, but things make this man the man that he is. And if we all just stop buying things, he will dry up and blow away. So that's it. I'm noticing general theme that, like, not very many of these are, like, proper ghost stories, but whatever. Halloween! Okay. Come on. That's Adam Rippon. He is the most fantastically gay man on the face of the earth. Like, gayness as an art form is perfected in him. There is no one who has gayed more or gayed better. And I defy you to try. Oh, you're going to come at me with Richard Simmons? How about the fact that Richard Simmons is not publicly out? Publicly out. Yes, I could say publicly. Quickly. Anyway, Richard Simmons, very gay. Extremely gay. Not publicly out of the closet. Adam Rippon, definitely out. Couldn't hide that with a closet. And he's the most fantastically gay man. He has perfected the art form. And yes, I do find it odd that I respect him even though he's a figure skater, because I freaking hate figure skating. Freaking hate it. Oh, my sisters used to just watch hours upon hours. And freaking NBC that we only got once every 2 years because my parents cut the cable, and then they would only hook up the antenna to pick up NBC during Olympic years. And instead of showing like a single hockey game, what do they show? They show figure skating and ice dancing and solo ice dancing and partner ice dancing and solo figure skating and couples figure skating and compulsories and hip-hopperies and like all the various types of competitions in the figure skating that there's like 15 million of. It's all ridiculous that, like, you know, Team USA hockey, they work their butts off and win like 15 games in a row against the toughest competition in the world. They will win 1 gold medal. But like a figure skater who does well by themselves and does well with a partner and does well with a team and does well with this and that and the other and the 15 different types of competition, they can earn 15 different types of medals from the 15 different types of competitions. It's like how like Team USA basketball has to win 15 games in a row, but like swimmers be like, I swam 200 meters, then I swam 300 meters, then I swam 400 meters, then 5, and those are all different races. And it's like the 200-meter butterfly and the 200-meter medley and the 200-meter, like it's all, ugh, God, it's not even. It's not even is what I'm saying. And also the coverage by NBC where they're like, we could show curling, which is super cool. Like, people hate on curling all the time, but watch a freaking curling match. It's magical. Like, honest to God, you will watch curling for like 20 minutes. You'll start off all skeptical, like, this can't be that good. And then after 20 minutes, you're going to be like, oh my God, not only do I understand this sport now, I have very strong opinions on it, and I want to talk to strangers about it. Like, honestly, just a little bit of curling in your life will turn you into a missionary for curling. How do you think I got this way? Anyway, all I'm saying is that there are other sports that you could show, NBC, but my entire childhood, I'd just be sitting there hoping, praying for any amount of hockey. And it was always figure skating. So that's why I hate figure skating to this day. So, yeah, not a ghost story, but like information. And now, 'tis the end. Happy Spooky Month. Oh, it's over. Spooky Month is over. We're like 34 minutes past the end of Spooky Month. Meh. Wah, wah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the thing. Got to go through our oh God, color, ugh, right in the eyeball. Thanks for this, Braxton. Was this your doing with this color? Oh, that is terrible. does not fit thematically at all. This program was directed and performed by Rem Pemberton. Remember Norway Week? What bliss! No, that wasn't bliss. That was a terrible episode. I hated that one. Written by Braxton White Guy. Everything changes. Dude, everything changes except for the part where you're not funny, Braxton. You give me nothing, and I have to go out there and make the magic all by myself. And if I can't pull it off, guess what I've got? Room full of disappointed white people, and then, individually, many rooms full of individually disappointed white people who spent time to listen to this and are like, what is this bull crap, and why am I hearing it? Theme song by the Out of Tuners. What? Which one is your nephew? The bald one? He's like the worst one. Yeah, and there's a guy with socks and sandals and like a pork pie hat and El Cheapo sunglasses. Yeah, I see that guy. He looks pretty terrible, but the bald guy looks like by far the worst one. Anyway, a presentation of Non-Sober Badger Productions. Actually, here's the funny thing about this. I have had a little bit of rye. Not only could I drive, I could drive confidently. Like, there is so little alcohol in my blood right now. It's not even funny. It's like not even worth mentioning. Like, normally when I do these, I'm, enjoying my weekend. But I realized that, like, I created these Halloween slides. Man, I had some other ones that I didn't do. They were superhero themed. Maybe I'll come back to the superhero idea, but like those slides were terrible. My God, they were terrible. Anyway, Non-Sober Badger Productions, even though I'm basically dead sober. A subsidiary of the large, boring-sounding corporation with surprisingly questionable business practices, Lawful Asset Holdings Incorporated. A branch of the intentionally vague corporation whose purpose may never be known, the Blaine Group. And communism. Not dead yet, suckers. This week's Lucky Listener Weekend Getaway Giveaway. Armando Manny Piccirilli. I wonder if he's related to the guy who punched Jeff Bezos in the wiener for spending money to fly to space for no reason, rather than letting his workers have basic human dignity. Oh, we getting all topical at the end? No, there's no way he's the same guy. Come on. Come on up to my house. We've got chickens in the bath and dogs in the soup, and Mama done had another fit of the beatus, and she might lose her foot next week. What the frick are these words? Braxton, did you, take a hit of acid before you wrote that sentence? That makes no sense. You are weird. What the frick? There's no call for that. No closure. The end. And indeed, it is the end. We return to the infinite regression, the place where sadness never dies. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of Spooktober. Look at that. This is 12:38 on a Sunday night. I'm a teacher who needs to go to bed because I've got students to teach in the morning. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed any part of this. I know I enjoyed making it. I did. I actually had a lot of fun making it. Anyway, that is it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.